Hi guys, it's Smith. Okay, today reacting to this video. Kali versus BJJ. Kali knife fighter destroyed by BJJ Blackbelt. Wow. Well, this is Kali versus BJJ part 2. For those who didn't watch part 1 yet, you should watch part 1 first. That wasn't really enough. There isn't so much about BJJ in part 1. So it says Kali knife fighter destroyed by BJJ. Well, this time you could see how strong BJJ is like, which seems to be very fun. So yeah, let's get into it.
If you enjoy the content, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new here. So let's get into it.
Back now. Oh, that's a bad day. Bad day. When you're training with a rubber knife, everybody's a hero. Everybody's a mega warrior, Superman, and all that. But you can't grab this. Your finger's gonna come off. My knives are sharp. I don't recommend training this stuff with a live blade. But the reason we're doing it here is you can't fuck around. I mean, the reality is that there's no mistakes.
Hey, it's Paul Linger with CollegeCenter.com. I'm here at Alpha BJJ in Woodstock, Illinois, with my good friend Alex.
This time, Jiu-Jitsu Master is joining.
Jiu-Jitsu school. He also is a
gonna be fun.
in our college system. I just got done teaching some Kali here to his students, and right now, what we've been doing, we've been rolling around just a little bit and training some BJJ versus Kali and Kali versus BJJ.
Oh, sounds
and
fun.
seeing how they intertwingle. Now, I wanted to do this video because I'm a big believer that if you're gonna pick two martial arts to study and you want a really full, well-rounded game, Kali and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Kali is gonna give you everything that you need standing up against multiple opponents, weapons, all that stuff. BJJ is gonna give you what? You're the expert.
Positional control on the ground. Not how to roll, not how to be in sport, although there's avenues for that. It's going to let you know how to control an opponent on the ground when you get down there where you don't want to be. How do you control it? How do you escape it? How do you survive that situation?
Yeah, in full position, BJJ is the strongest one. That's what I believe. So the point is gonna be, I think, in folded position, how Kali performs the better skills against the BJJ.
Nice. All right, so I think these work really, really good together. Now, what we've been finding, because Alex and I've gotten together a few times now, and we're looking at, okay, how does BJJ function against Kali on the ground? If the knife is already out, or if the knife is not out. So we've been playing a lot of different scenarios, and then how does Kali deal with the BJJ?
Oh,
on the
good scenario.
So we're going expert at BJJ, and I don't really classify myself as an expert, but it is what it is.
I'll classify you as an expert.
Okay, thanks. All right, so one of the things that we found is that it's really a race to timing. So it's not really like one art is better than the other. I don't really agree that any martial art is necessarily better than the other, but it's really just it's a situation of timing. Who gets to the best position first, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. All right, so one of the things I want to show is how BJJ can stop a Kali guy from getting their weapon.
Right. Which, for my money,
fun.
We've been working
Seems to be fun.
That's the key to this whole thing. Just like you said, no best, no worst martial art. There's just martial arts and martial artists and learning the timing and who gets the best position. The best position in this ground fight is whoever gets the weapon in their hand.
Correct.
Right? So for jiu-jitsu to be successful against Kali, let's just be honest, we need to beat you to the knife. And I would argue that with anyone, any BJJ expert anywhere, who thinks we have a great answer on the ground of the knife. Once that knife's out, I don't see a great answer to that knife. Once it's out and we're on the ground, your movement is limited. Granted, you have position, you have pressure, but your movement's very limited, and movement is just so critical in dealing with the timing and the distancing of the weapon. So for BJJ to be successful, we have to deal with it before the knife comes down. Absolutely have to. It's critical. The reason, one of the reasons I train Kali is one, I enjoy it and I think it's great, and I think it's really neat to learn all the technical intricacies of it. But two, BJJ doesn't have a great answer for weapons. Kali is the
now we're that's what we're doing. We're developing BJJ to have a much better answer versus weapons. If you want BJJ to have a good answer against a knife, you have to go to a knife fighting expert, right? Not just like, oh, that guy has a knife over there, random dude on the ground. You got to go with someone that this is their profession. Now, I'm gonna be honest here. We did a video, Kali versus BJJ, and I did it like that on purpose because it was a clickbait video because I wanted to draw attention to this video.
Yeah, that was kind of sucks. So now it makes sense.
Choice, Kali, whatever, right? But really that was set up for this. All right, so let's take a look at the position. How would you stop a Kali guy from getting to your knife?
Right.
Because a lot of Kali guys carry more than one knife.
Right, which is a big problem to deal with, and there's not a lot of great answers, but one of the answers we have is I have to get to side mount, and or side control position, and that's where my chest is roughly in the upper third of your chest towards the head, my shoulders in the side of your face, and I'm applying pressure here. This lets me not only control your core and your body movement and lets me press you, it gives me access to both your arms. And it keeps your arms, when done properly, away from the pockets. And let me be clear, it does not make it impossible for someone to get access to these weapons. What it does is buy me time to either begin my striking sequence or, honestly, think about disengaging. Because if I'm down and I can get to my feet first and he has to get from his back up to chase me, I got some serious yardage on him.
Right.
And like now I'm looking at getting out of a very bad situation. So this side control position that I like to use here is I'm isolating this arm up with the knee, again, primarily why? So this hand can't have easy access to the pocket. Just about anything else I do is going to give him easy access to his pocket. I can't have it. That lets this arm come across, do what's called an underhook here, and drive this arm away. Again, does it make it impossible? Absolutely not. This hand's coming underneath, and there's a lot of ways to play this, and you'll see different side mounts for different positions. I actually go very old school for this application. And that's where I'm bringing the arm underneath. I'm actually isolating my own arm a little bit here, but it's so I can drive this shoulder. And I drive my shoulder to get his head to the side, and this does a couple things. One, it pins him a little bit more, and two, as you're gonna see when we start the other half of this, it makes his counters a little bit more difficult. Neither one of us knew this beforehand. We experimented, we played with it, we did some runs on this to figure this stuff out. So as I'm here, it lets me walk almost more north-south. Notice how my top shin is coming up underneath. I'm really isolating that arm. Now when Paul tries to get to his knife on his right side.
Right, that's not going anywhere.
Right.
Wow.
And now that frees me up to really worry about this hand. So as I'm driving my pressure, all I really have to maintain now is this hand away from this knife. Now, it's easy to sit here and say that, it's much harder in application, but it's possible. And the more I control the arm, the more I control this, and as I get a good feel for the control on this arm, now I can start to work my other arm trap, and I can start to come into some destructions on this side. We typically in Jiu-Jitsu consider everything a submission, right? I get my Americano, I get my straight arm bar, whatever the case is, I apply it, and Paul taps, and we do that to be nice.
Go to the tap.
Oh,
Right? This is how
wow. Yeah, this is the final position for BJJ. Yeah, in this position, it's impossible to escape from this position. But as he said, the problem for BJJ is how to, fight with the people who got the, knife. Until the knife is out from the enemy, that is the tough time,
we train. And this lets us immediately reset and train again so we can get more repetition. In reality, if there's a knife in this pocket, I don't have to just make him tap. This is a situation where I'm literally wrenching the shoulder out of position. Or if he extends this arm in an effort, I can break the elbow here again. How do we apply this in training? We go to a tap, right? So he taps. In reality, if I don't tap, Jiu-Jitsu becomes very brutal. So
I see. His arm is gonna be broken, right? Yeah, this attack is not for killing, but to make enemies in function, that's enough attack. So thinking of this, it's really brutal attack. It's as brutal as a Kali is.
That concept, it's a simple side mount with just a little bit of application on the side of the face and a little bit more concern about control of the arms that's going to keep these from being accessed. Because once these weapons are in hand, they're just so dangerous, you can't do it. Some people really, like if he's giving me a problem here, some people like to play here. Now I can transition to my scarf and come over the top with a shin to control, right? This gives me that same kind of control that I had in his arm before, right? So now he can't access the pocket with this hand, and he can't access with this hand. Now I just have to apply pressure to the face
completely
in a
blocked.
slightly different manner. Now again, we're using the term just a lot here. Right. And when you say
This is amazing ground technique, so strong.
here and talk your way through a position. It's easy to just do anything.
Right.
Application becomes much more difficult, but that's what training's for. Everything's hard the first time you try it.
Yeah,
But
of course.
for jiu-jitsu to beat Kali, the focus has to be on stopping the access to the weapons. The focus is best applied towards stopping the weapons.
Nice, nice. All right, now the other question is, what if the weapon is already out?
Now we have to again control and isolate, and we have to immediately, like the urgency goes up. I have to control position. We were just talking about this. It's funny we come back to position tonight because when you were teaching forms, you're talking about how important position is. Position is what drives your cuts. Position drives everything in jiu-jitsu as well. It's one of those we've talked about many times over the years, how there's so many similarities despite the totally different training methodologies and focuses of the art. There's so many similarities, and one is position. I have to have my positional dominance, and I have to be able to either immediately incapacitate that arm I have isolated that the weapon gets deployed in, or I have to have position so that I can get my escape quickly, right? And again, if all it advises me is a few steps to be up clean from that position first, that's a few steps that I'll take when there's a knife involved to get that escape, particularly given the time it takes to get someone up off their back. But it really comes down to I have to maintain position. So can I borrow you for a second? So we're fighting this fight.
Now it's going to depend on which knife.
Right. And again, that it entirely depends which knife. Typically, I think the one you're going to see come out most, and I think every time we've played, it's almost always been the outside arm. Because when I do a good job of controlling this, whether I slide in and step over,
Right. This is giving me time.
Yeah, this is the one. Now, I mean, check this out. This is a perfect example. Man, I'm working this arm. This is great. Crap, he got this weapon in hand. But again, I go back to what's the greatest thing about jiu-jitsu is position, right? And I have good position.
And real quick side note in Kali, this is why in the reverse grip, we go blade edge on the inside. When he puts his hand there and I flip it, I take the cut here. So I cut all the tendons in his hands. All right, so that's just a little side note there. But a lot of people will go,
Oh, so in Kali side, even if your arm is folded, you can cut your enemy's arm by your knife, like using your wrist. Oh, it's kind of tricky. So how BJJ is gonna control by this situation?
actually go blade edge outside because they don't know that. So we'll go this way.
So as I'm here, this is where I have to make the choice, but nothing, all these cool submissions you see online, all these cool submissions that any good jiu-jitsu player is capable of, it's not the submission, it's not the arm position or the entanglements that drive it, it's the position.
Yeah.
And if I have position and I've got good isolation on the humerus and I see this coming out and I've been tracking the arm like I want to, I can still go ahead and lock these same positions in, whatever the case is, as long as I control and isolate. Conversely, if this is shaky, I want out. If I have good position, it's hard for Paul to immediately move up from here. So I can go ahead and increase my weight on him, get my feet under me, and now as I exit, I don't even have to turn my back to him nearly as much as I just have to explode and run an attack off him, essentially.
Nice. Going to the takeoff.
Yeah.
Nice. So you guys, you see that we are using a real blade here, so that way you can't grab the blade and be like, oh, look at that.
Right.
There's awareness here.
Absolutely.
All right. So, good. So, anything else you want to add, or?
No, I think a lot gets put out there in the reality-based self-defense community, and in the jiu-jitsu community is a little bit less concerned with it. But you do this, this and that, and this and that against the knife, and it's easy. You alluded to it earlier. It's easy to grab someone off the street that doesn't know what they're doing and go, "Wow, this technique's amazing." When you put that knife in the hands of someone that knows what they're doing, it's not amazing, and a lot of times it's dangerous. So if you're going to run experiments like this, jiu-jitsu guys, my people, find your Kali guys and find your good Kali guys. Talk to Paul. Talk to one of Paul's. Hey, we're not the only charter group. They're everywhere. They're all over the country. Find those guys and work this stuff with them, because they're the ones that are going to get you past that fallacy stage. And there's a lot of them out there, and I was victim to a few of them.
Yeah.
And get those people to push you. And guess what? Lose, get cut. Like maybe not with the real blade, but man, that's how you figure out what's going to work, man. It's easy to think we're great. It's easy to run the drills.
You can get the shock knives.
Yes, they're fantastic.
Just to get shocked. I agree with the same thing. Get BJJ guys, Kali guys, if you want to understand how to use your Kali on the ground or what. I'm a big believer, if you're on the ground, you do need a base of jiu-jitsu to some form of grappling art, whether it's jiu-jitsu, sambo, something. Really to get your hips moving, get your body moving, where you can, get through strikes. In Kali, we're really looking to get the strikes, and we want to attack the ear and all that. So as we're playing with application, because we're using the word just, let's turn it just a little bit and look at the Kali side of it.
Yes.
All right, in the next video.
Awesome.
All
Oh.
right, guys, if you like this discussion.
Oh, that was a good video, wasn't it? Now we know the true performance of both martial art, right? As I pointed out in the last video, for the Kali guy, even if you have a knife by your hand in a folded position, you can't stop him because there are many positions in BJJ style. The BJJ guy applies the best position depending on the enemy's attack or movement. Like in this video, the guy said your arm is easily locked and broken, and after your arm is dysfunction, you are choked and died so fast. Kali on the other hand, very quick attack and efficient attack. Even if your arm is folded, you could stop him making use of very soft joint and wrist. But in my opinion, in a ground fighting, BJJ could be winner because once you're folded, you are passed out very quickly. There's no time to attack, I guess. But in a contact fighting, Kali could be winner. But I think weapon should be needed. With its fast attack, very efficient attack, you cut the enemy's arm first and cut enemy's neck, and the enemy's dead. But with bare hand, I have absolutely no idea how you could be win or you could be lose. But yeah, this is gonna be really interesting fighting. The serious fighting between the Kali and BJJ. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you like it. If you do, make sure to like button and subscribe, please. So, また会おうぜ。